Hello again, Maniacs. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be having a look at the Colorado by Vapergate, a 52.80 millimeter RDA. Let's jump into it. Comes in this nice presentation box. Open it up. You look up here and you'll see that it's signed by Yosh and numbered by him as well, which is a nice touch. Thought that was pretty neat of them to actually take the time to do that. In here you'll find a card that gives you build ideas on how you can build this thing up. I personally went with a different one that's on here. I'll show you all that here in just a little bit. Everything in here comes wrapped in plastic. I have already taken the plastic off in the interest of saving time. Comes with this neat little metal plate, which is really cool because I think that's a nice touch. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it. I've got an idea, but we'll go from there. You'll have your goodies bag, extra O-rings, extra screws. A squonk pin is included as well. These two tools right here, the blue screwdriver and the Allen key, those are going to be your best friends when it comes to this. And Yosh has always joked in the past about having the little blue screwdriver in there. This is one of those times where you're going to need that little blue screwdriver, so do not lose that. Comes with two different barrels, a stainless steel barrel with all adjustable airflow and 8 holes, and that big ass hole right there. And we'll show you with the black one what that's about. So you can use either your little 510 looking tip, or you can also pop this out and use bigger ones. So you've got this little adapter right here and it snaps right in. It stays pretty good. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so there's that. Machining is, of course, very, very nice. I'm liking the look of it. I really do. It's pretty neat looking. The material down in here is cork. Just another nice touch. It feels like a very premium RDA. And then we have our deck. So we've got the Colorado, there's the number. And then the star of the show, which everybody has gone nutso about, is the deck. And you can see it's crazy. These 8 posts in the middle can be removed. I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. The 8 on the outside cannot be removed. They are part of the RDA. The negatives are milled into the deck. Once you take if you take the inside out, you have more build room than you know what to do with. But once you have those in there, it really is tight quarters, and you kind of need to know what you're doing a little bit. But that's what the deck looks like. See, the machining on it's pretty good. You got your O-rings there. We'll come back and touch on all of this printing that's on here. It's not etched in. I'm not sure exactly if it's screen printed or something. I don't know. But we'll touch on that for a very specific segment of the market. That is not your best friend. So, and then let me take this box out of the way. Let's show you what I was talking about with your two new best friends if you're going to use this a lot. Your blue screwdriver, which is a flathead, and your Allen key. So what you'll do to take these posts out is you'll just take out the clamp screw, like so. Just your basic Allen, which you don't really need a close-up of that. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And then you'll take your blue screwdriver. I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit. You'll take your blue screwdriver, stick it in here, turn it until it catches, and then unscrew. And then, if done properly, you should be able to wiggle it and pop it right out. So how this is working is inside of here, you have this little pin. With the screw that goes in here, will come out the bottom. You'll see that you got it milled square, so this thing won't turn. And that's how this thing stays in there. And there's extra ones of these in that goodie bag as well. And zoom back out. And then to put it back in, it's a little difficult on the last one because there's not a lot of room for your fingers. You kind of just got to wiggle it over into place until you find the hole and it catches. There we go. And then you'll just take your blue screwdriver, catch it, and tighten it down. And there's no wiggle, there's no play, anything of that nature. Then you'll take your capture screw and just put it back in, and voila, you are good to go. So let's zoom in here just a little bit so we get another look at this deck. The machining on this is very, very, very good. The only thing you'll have to watch out for is when you're capturing your leads. It is kind of sharp there, so if you're not careful, you can cut a lead. But quite honestly, that's for having 4 openings on each post. I kind of would expect that. Just you can only machine to a certain degree. So let's go ahead and zoom that back out, and then I'm going to make a little adjustment here on said camera. All right. So what we're going to do right here is we're going to pause for a second. If any of those of you who have watched my videos before, you know that I am technically in whatever, not qualified. I can't run the editing software. I'm kind of a simple person. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause here. Well, we'll put this back together first for kind of a finished look, I guess. The O-rings are a little tight right now. That'll change. Pardon me. So right now I'm going to pause the video, and then we're going to take on a little bit of history with these RDAs, and then we are going to show you what I did. Then we'll wrap it up, see any pros or cons or anything like that. So bear with me. All right, we're back. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of do a little bit of history on where we have cut. You'll notice that if you know your RDAs, you'll notice that one that should be in this picture is not in this picture, and we'll get to that one in just a second. But the first thing I wanted to do is, this is one of my first RDAs. This is the Plume Veil. This is one of the very first authentic RDAs that I ever bought. And I just find it to be amazing that we were there and now we are here. And I can't thank Yosh enough for being a visionary enough to see something like this in his head. I think this is just, I mean, that kind of says it all, doesn't it? Kind of where we are and where we've evolved as a vaping community. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I think literally, that's one with my build in it, don't look. I think literally, yeah, the 22 millimeter Addy fits inside of there. So I'm guessing that's at least 23 millimeters. Oh, that's just freaking crazy. But as you can see, we've kind of got the evolution of just straight up Vapergate here, with your 24, your 27, your 30, and your 40. And you can kind of see how they match up size-wise to this big monstrosity. And then we've got the Primero over here, which, should technically be there in the grand scheme of things. But you can kind of get a feel for where everything is headed. Now, like I said, there's an RDA that should be over here. So we're going to take these smaller ones away. The reason I did not include this in the original one, even though it is a Vapergate product, This was a collaboration between Vapergate and another company. And this is the Fat Boy. This is the Legend. And as you recall, you had to screw in from the bottom your posts and everything. And that was just a leaking mess. That's, of course, not the original drip tip that came with it. I just put one on there because I didn't much care for the one that was on there. But as you can see, I mean, if you're talking big boys here, I think there's another company that has a 40 millimeter. Well, I know that the Titan is 41, but I'm wanting to say that there's another company out there. I think it's Modfather or something like that. They have a larger one, like 40 millimeter or something like that. And of course, the dump tanks are, of course, not here. But I just wanted to show the difference where you're going from everything, from what we've had available before. Now, if you look, I'm going to give you a little vertigo here, so try not to freak out. We're going to get down here real level like. Here we go. And you can just kind of see, one, this thing is incredibly shorter than the other two. There's excellent usage of space. One of the main problems with it is there was just too much real estate in there. So, as you can see, they've kind of solved some of the problems with this thing in addressing the other stuff that has been out on the market. So let me get this right here set back up. All right, so let's go ahead and take these bad boys out. Now, something some of you may be interested in is, whoop, there went my background. Sorry. All right. The Hammer of God, version 4. How does it look on there? Well, let's find out together, shall we? So it looks like we've got quite a bit of overhang. Not quite a bit, I guess, a few millimeters because of that bevel right there. But it looks like if that little angle wasn't on there, that would be a flush fit. So that's what it looks like on the Hammer of God version 4. It's not unsightly by any means. And you just saw one of the things we're going to be talking about here in just a minute. I personally have this on my own personal box that I made. It looks a bit more like it should belong there. So we'll go ahead and show you my build real quick, what I've done in here. Matter of fact, I'm going to keep that there. I can zoom in the camera because I have the technology. All right, let's zoom in. Now, please forgive the growiness of the cotton, but as you can imagine, rewicking this is a son of a bitch. So there we go. So if you take the time to count, you'll see that there's 8 coils in there. It was actually relatively easy to build, just of course time consuming because you've got a lot of coils in there, and then it makes the vapors. So let's zoom out here. So take this bad boy out of the picture and I'm going to pause the video for just a moment, and then we'll come back for final thoughts. Alright, so let's go ahead and wrap this video up, and let's talk about some of the cons. The first thing I do want to mention that I will not mention is either a pro or a con, because to me that's the dumbest shit ever, is guess what? It's a big RDA. You know, if you're buying this RDA, that it's big. In case you haven't seen Yoshi's Instagram post, the reason it's 52.8 is that's the height from sea level of Denver, Colorado. So, and his little tagline there for just a minute was, not everything is bigger in Texas. So far, he wins. So, let's talk about pros and cons. The first one we'll talk about is this only applies if you have a wood mod, okay? This screen printing or whatnot on the bottom, okay? It comes off. This is the box I was using it on for quite some time, and as you can see, it has soaked into the wood just with juice or whatnot like that. So that is, to me, that's something, if you're a wood mod user, that is something you should be aware of, that this stuff can come off after exposure, to e-liquid and stuff like that, okay? The other thing that is a negative is, it's a positive and a negative, I guess, I don't know, depending on, you need to take this cap off to juice it, okay? There's no, just dumping your juice in. However, these O-rings are just very, very loose. There is no picking your mod up from this, okay? So that's just something, when they're dry, they're tight as all get out. But as soon as they get juicy, so I mean, in one regard, yes, it needs to be looser so that you can juice up your coils. But on the downside, if you pick that up by that, it's going to come off. I've not had any issues with that so far, but I mean, they do, it's very, they don't look like they protrude, all that much. So just something to keep in mind with it. And I think as far as negatives go, I believe that's really the only faults I could find with it. If we're going to talk about positives, the list is just long as all get out. All right. You're looking at, you have 2 barrels, so in essence 2 RDAs. You have the presentation box, which is just utterly fantastic. I mean, that's just well done. Okay. Of course, the little plates. So the extras you get with this are fantastic. It feels like that you get your money's worth. It truly does. And then of course, the other positive is this deck. It is just so much to look at, so much to deal with. You kind of get overload when you're working with this thing, because your possibilities are so endless. The machining on it is, as you can see, very, very well done. But the number one pro I have for this device is this system for holding these pins in place. It is original. It is inventive. I was just floored by that. I thought that was just the neatest thing since sliced bread when I first went to go take this thing apart. So I think that pretty much just covers. I'm not going to put a build in it. I've got the coils made and everything, but I want you, I don't want to tell you what to do or how to do it. If you have this RDA, you should know what the hell you're doing. This is not for anybody who's anywhere near a beginner status. So I really don't think that showing a build on there really accomplishes anything. So I think that's it on our Colorado kind of review or whatnot. Oh, well, I guess there's some few other things to talk about. How does it vape? There is a generous amount of airflow. For me, it was just a little bit too much airflow, so I literally had to shut it down just a little bit. And let me on here. Yeah, you can see I've got them shut down about halfway. That is a lot of air. There's pretty small holes, but with the combined 8 of them, yeah, it's a lot of freaking air. Oh, and there is one other negative. Well, you wish you kind of scripted this shit just a little bit better. The other negative I've found for this device, and this is a big one, and I do apologize for throwing it in here at the very end of the video, is the negative posts. Okay. And I guess this is the only machining thing that I found that I wish they'd done just a little bit different. Is, you notice if you look at where the negative is and where the positive is in relationship, this one looks a little farther out, right? Well, if you've got your leads coming through this way, coming out with your coil up in here, snipping that is very hard to get that super duper flush. and I have shorted out a coil because the lead touched the barrel. So that's just something, I mean, I don't know if you would call it a rookie mistake or not. I'm not much in the way of a rookie, I guess, but I didn't notice it to begin with, and I also had trouble. It should have been a dead giveaway getting the cap on. The cap, I mean, it's got to be perfectly flush. There is no having any stragglers out there or anything like that. So that is, I guess that's something else that you should be made aware of. But I mean, it is what it is. I do wish if they were to do a little bit of redesigning on there, they would bring that negative post in just a little bit more to allow for, your scraggly leads, especially when you're doing like, fuse Claptons. Well, you ain't putting a fuse fucking Clapton on that and putting any coils on it. Sorry, people. But, with the Claptons that I do have on there, those little scraggly wires that come unwoven there at the end, that can create a little bit of a short issue for you, but nothing major as far as I'm concerned. The flavor on it is hands down better than anything that any of these ever put out. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The flavor is actually quite nice considering what size of device you're working with. Okay, you're not going to get the same flavor out of that you would have gotten out of this little fella. Okay, but for the size that it is, you are getting pretty good flavor. I'm running a mint candy in there, and I can pretty much taste it. So I'd say that's a pretty good thing. Is it the best flavor in the world? No. But you're not buying this RDA because it's a flavor chaser. You're buying this RDA because it's a badass motherfucker. That's why you're buying it. It's big. It's massive, and it will get all the attention you'll ever want when you walk into a vape store or walk into any setting. Will it get you laid? Probably not. But hey, who knows? Stranger things have happened. So I think that's enough rambling on for just a moment. Any questions, feel free to put some comments down there in the bottom. I'll try to answer them as best I can. And I think that's all we've got really to say about the old Colorado by Vapergate. Once again, thank you for watching. I do appreciate every single view that I get and all the comments I get. I try to answer every single one of them. Have a good one. We'll talk at you next time.